Why does making friends as an adult feel so
What should I
hard?
wear on a
What
first
the
date?
hell is a form?
But that
Why
hookup
is
was
buying my
not
first
good.
home
What
so
do I want my
frustrating?
life to look like in 5 years?
We want to know too.
Since 2012, the Every Girl has been an online destination to help women around the world achieve the life of their dreams. Now, we're excited to bring you the same inspiring content with the Every Girl podcast.
Welcome back to the show, Every Girls. I hope everybody had an amazing long weekend. We are back with the next episode of our summer glow up series, the series containing everything you need to prepare your mind and body and life for Hot Girl Summer so you can live this season to the very fullest. And today we're talking about morning routines. But trust me, this is not going to be your average wake up early and drink lemon water advice that some wellness influencers share on TikTok. I feel like I hate on influencers so much. I don't mean to be such a hater. It just it comes out. I think I just really want to deprogram what we've been taught to believe as wellness that actually is just very artificial and stressful. I just use TikTok as an example. So, to all the wellness TikTokers out there, I am so sorry. I don't mean to come so hard at you. But anyway, this is not your typical morning routine advice. This is for the girls who want to actually change their lives and live fuller and happier and bigger than they could have ever imagined because it all starts with your mornings. Your morning is not just the beginning of your day, it is the launch pad to your entire fucking life. Mimi Bouchard says this a lot. Your mornings dictate your days dictate your years, and your years dictate your life. If you want to change your life, like really change it, don't start with a 5-year plan. Start with the first hour of the day. Like right now, if you're listening to this in the morning or maybe starting tomorrow morning, getting really intentional about that time is how you drastically shift your life. Psychology says that the first 60 minutes of your day sets the tone for your brain's neurochemistry. This means that if you start your morning intentionally, you actually shift your dopamine and cortisol in ways that fuel productivity, focus, and emotional stability for the entire day. Your mornings are also a crucial time to set up your health and hormones for the whole day. The stress hormone cortisol naturally peaks in the morning, which you want some cortisol because that's what suppresses melatonin, the sleep hormone, and makes you feel awake and alert and energized. So, a little bit of cortisol is good. That's what our bodies are naturally supposed to do. But if we wake up to an angry alarm after already hitting snooze and we're rushing to get ready and we're spilling our coffee and we're running late on our way to work, our already spiked cortisol kind of goes through the roof, making it really freaking hard to come down and de stress throughout the day. So, our stress baseline is already raised basically before our day even begins. The mornings are also really important for honoring your nervous system instead of shocking it with stress. So, it's important to look at our mornings as a time to set the status for our cortisol levels throughout the day. Also, related to cortisol is your circadian rhythm. And when you wake up, it's a really important time to properly let your body know that it's daytime. It's time to be awake, which will help with energy all day long because the circadian rhythm uses cues from nature to understand when we're supposed to be awake and when we're supposed to be asleep. That is the job of the circadian rhythm. So if the our blinds are shut or we're not going outside, or even it's cloudy out, or maybe you're just not even being intentional or setting up your circadian rhythm for success in the morning, it might not get the signal that it needs, which will affect your energy all day. And because your circadian rhythm works like an internal clock, when you get that exposure to sunlight and melatonin begins to slow down, cortisol begins to be released first thing in the morning, the body knows to begin melatonin production about 12 hours after. So, how you spend your mornings not only impacts your energy throughout the day, but can also affect your sleep at night. Your digestion is also really connected to your circadian rhythm. In the morning, the colon becomes more active, and that cortisol peak that we talked about also works to simulate bowel movements. So, your digestive system can literally detoxify first thing in the morning to support digestion for the rest of the day. But a lot of us, myself included, rush through our mornings so much, or maybe we're always late, that we kind of have suppressed our body's ability to detoxify in the morning. Like after years of constipation, I realized that a big cause was not giving my body the time and relaxing my muscles enough to be able to go to the bathroom in the mornings, which then threw off my entire digestion. You might have heard of like SIBO, which is basically bacteria imbalance and overgrowth in the small intestine. I've heard some doctors talk about that the potential cause of that is actually not going to the bathroom consistently, like starts that, all rooted from stress and rushing in the mornings. We're not giving our bodies the chance to know, okay, this is time for me to detoxify, which then causes the constipation. And the constipation is what causes SIBO and other gut issues. So your mornings are a really impactful time for your health. I also want you to think of your mornings as a sacred self-care practice. The first thing that you do after waking up is what you are subconsciously telling yourself that you prioritize most in life. Every time you hit snooze, skip breakfast, rush through your mornings, answer emails, or scroll TikTok before you even get out of bed, you are subconsciously telling yourself, my needs can wait. My well being or fulfillment or joy is not my priority. And maybe there are phases in your life where the first thing you do after waking up is going to your baby or kissing your partner or snuggling with your pet. And that is a good demonstration of what is your greatest priority in life. But when we go right to our phones before getting out of bed, or we skip breakfast, we're running late to work, think of what messages we are subconsciously sending to ourselves about what we value. Even if you do have kids, or maybe you have a really early start time at your job, or you're super busy, even just the first 5 minutes of your entire day, 60 seconds, if that's all you can get, should be intentionally spent for you. It is a deep expression of your own self worth. Kind of like the cliche, you're supposed to put on your mask before helping others on an airplane. By the way, that's not because you only save yourself, but when you do this, you can help more people. If you have your oxygen mask on, you then have the oxygen to be able to help more people put theirs on. If you put on your kid's oxygen mask first, I don't know, you might pass out before you get the chance to put yours on, and your kid doesn't know how to help you. So then they're traumatized, and you definitely aren't helping out other people when you're passed out. I don't know shit about safety on an airplane, but my point is that prioritizing yourself first is not selfish. The purpose is that the more you give to yourself, the more you have to give to others. You cannot be effective at work, in your relationships, for your family, if you are operating from a drained and burnt out and joyless place. So every day, put on your oxygen mask first. Do whatever you can to make your mornings for you. Because if you spend the first part of every day filling your joy and reprioritizing you and giving your body what it needs, imagine how powerfully you can show up to work, the energy and the confidence and the creativity you'd bring to meetings, or how present and joyful you would be around your family. It is not selfish to prioritize yourself in the mornings. It's selfish not to. But also, fuck worrying about being selfish. You get this one goddamn life, and your only job in it, the only reason that you're here, is to love every freaking minute of it. So I also want to give you permission to spend time on yourself for no other purpose than your own fulfillment and well-being, because that's not only your right, but your job. Now, let's first of all talk about tips to become a morning person. If you feel like you're not a morning person, that's simply not true. That's kind of like a made-up thing, honestly. According to behavioral psychology, your brain repeats whatever feels safe and familiar, even if it's sabotaging you. So if you're always reaching for your phone first thing in the morning and you're telling yourself just 5 more minutes scrolling through TikTok, if you snooze your alarm, if you wake up feeling annoyed, if you're cranky every morning, this is not some like innate thing that's like genetic. You have trained your brain to expect that pattern. To become a morning person, you don't need to like change yourself or try harder. You need to rewire your default settings. So here are some tips to become a morning person or to make the most of your mornings, even if you've been a night owl your whole life. First of all, hack your circadian rhythm so you have more energy and a better mood earlier on in the day. Having a consistent wake up time, and yes, I'm so sorry to say, I even mean on weekends, and also getting sunlight exposure as soon as possible sets your circadian rhythm, which then helps regulate cortisol. And again, cortisol is the stress hormone, but it also works as your natural energy hormone, which will increase your energy. So you really want your body to be in such a flow. Like you really want your circadian rhythm to know when it's supposed to be asleep and when it's supposed to be awake. So that, let's say, like at 7 a.m., if that's when you wake up, your body knows right away to begin producing cortisol to increase your energy and suppress melatonin. So you are awake and alert and energized. And then getting sunlight exposure boosts dopamine, which then improves your mood. Your circadian rhythm thrives on consistency. So, irregular sleep patterns lead to disrupted hormones, foggy brain, fatigue, and very well might be why you're waking up feeling cranky or still tired. When you make it clear to your body when you're supposed to be asleep and when you're supposed to be awake by, again, getting that exposure to sunlight first thing in the morning and then having a consistent wake up time, your body better understands when it's supposed to have more energy and when it's supposed to be sleepy. So, waking up within about the same hour or so every day, opening the blinds, getting outside as soon as possible, all of this is going to help signal to your body to boost energy and mood in the mornings. Another tip to become a morning person is the most obvious. And sorry, this isn't going to be the advice that anyone wants to hear, but it's to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Okay. We cannot escape that when we're talking about being energized and happy in the mornings. Like, of course, you feel groggy or tired or cranky in the morning when your body is begging you to get more sleep, which is so crucial for every function of our entire bodies. Our bodies actually should not be waking up to a jarring alarm clock every morning because that means that we're not getting the sleep that we need. You want to be able to wake up naturally, which you can train your body to do even if you have to wake up early by just adjusting, again, your circadian rhythm and making sure that you're getting enough sleep. So even if you have to wake up at 5 a.m., your body has had enough sleep and is able to wake up naturally by 5 a.m. What I would do is identify the amount of hours of sleep that your body needs to feel well rested. I typically aim for about 8 hours, and that's pretty standard. Some people need more or less, especially women. Research indicates that women generally need more sleep than men do. So, that recommendation that you hear that says at least 7 hours of sleep, for women, it's probably more like 9 hours, especially at certain times of your cycle. And that's because women's bodies are doing so much and are so powerful. They need more rest to recharge. That is the scientific truth. Men are so simple. Their bodies only need about 6 to 7 hours to recharge. We have a lot more power, so we need more sleep. But for me, I found that after 8 hours, I feel recharged. That's when I typically start waking up naturally because my body has had enough rest. So, what I do to determine when I should go to bed at night is based on my wake up time, which is almost always around 6:30 or 7. Basically, count back the hours that you want to sleep and then add an extra hour because it takes you longer to fall asleep than you may think. And a lot of us go through REM cycles and wake up more often throughout the night than we even realize. I really learned this through tracking my sleep on my Aura Ring because if I would get in bed 8 hours before I had to get up in the morning, I was like, oh, I'm getting about 8 hours of sleep. I was so proud of myself. But my Aura Ring humbled the shit out of me, and I would look at my score and realize that I was actually only asleep for 6 hours and 30 minutes. So it's really important to give yourself that extra hour of cushion to make sure that your body is actually getting the sleep that it needs so that you can wake up feeling completely restored and well rested. Now, obviously, this is not going to be every night. I mean, last night I had alcohol and even 2 margaritas really fuck with my sleep. So I got 6 hours total. I know, especially if you have kids or a puppy, that's a whole other story. Like life happens. The last thing that we need is more stress over feeling bad about not getting enough sleep. Your sleep isn't going to be perfect every night, but I just don't want us to accept the default of waking up every day unrested. So, as much as you can, whatever that looks like to you, prioritize sleep, but don't stress about it when you can't. And then, my last tip to become a morning person is to have something worth waking up for. It's really interesting because I had this aha moment, I guess, when I was working with a lot of clients. And some were like, I plan for this morning routine where I work out and I clean my apartment and I make a smoothie. Like it is the classic that girl 5 to 9 before my 9 to 5 wellness influencer routine that you see on TikTok where you fit in all the wellness things. And I also had clients saying this who, how to get up and get ready for work right away. And all of these clients are like, I just end up lying in bed and I don't want to get up. I don't know how to make myself get up. And in my head, I thought, of course you don't want to get out of bed. What is there about those morning routines that is worth getting out of bed for? What about that morning would make you think the night before, I'm so excited for morning. I can't wait. What are you expecting to be worth getting out of bed for? Is it a workout you're making yourself do? Is it a workday full of things you're dreading? If you struggle to get out of bed in the morning, the problem is not you. You're not lazy. You just might not have something worth getting out of bed for. Even if you do need to fit in a workout or you have a busy workday, you need something first before all of that makes you excited to get out of bed. Maybe it's literally just your coffee that's so delicious and you have perfected this latte that you cannot wait for. Or maybe you fit in time to read your favorite book while you eat breakfast and you're so excited to wake up for that ritual. Have something worth waking up for, and I promise you, you will have no problem with your mornings. So now let's talk about building your mornings, how you want to change the way that you spend your time at the very start of your day. Think of your morning like the first scene of a movie. It sets the tone for the entire film. The lighting, the vibe, the soundtrack, it's setting the tone for the entire experience of the movie, right? Like think of Legally Blonde, which is arguably the best opening scene of any movie. The song Perfect Day starts playing. You see the back of Elle Woods brushing her iconic blonde hair. The girl is riding through campus on her bike, waving to the cute frat guys. All the girls are signing the card for Elle throughout the sorority house. It's colorful, it's fun, it's happy, it's funny. You really get a feel for the entire movie that you're about to watch. Your mornings are your first scene of your day. Are you setting yourself up for a happy rom-com? Or are you setting yourself up for a horror movie because you're stressed and you're overwhelmed and you're scrolling on your phone until you have to rush to get ready? So I'm going to share a glowed up morning routine checklist that will help your opening scene feel more like a happy, fun, enjoyable movie. And it will also turn your mornings into a manifestation practice where you are actively tapping into your best self, supporting your body and mind and joy and self-worth so that you feel as amazing as you possibly can, not just in the morning, but for your entire day. Because remember, your mornings dictate your days dictate your years, and your years dictate your life. It all comes back to the mornings. The Every Girl podcast is brought to you by Nordstrom. While some would argue that fall is fashion's biggest season, I am a firm believer that the best season for style is summer. Not only can you finally ditch the long jacket to actually show off your outfit, but it's just so much easier to look chic this time of year, especially if you're opting for dresses or sets that take little to no styling. My summer fashion inspo is a mix of Amanda Seyfried's effortless style in Mamma Mia, Paige DeSorbo's iconic matching sets on Summer House, and my dream wardrobe from Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen in Holiday in the Sun. Summer fashion is so fun. So if your wardrobe is giving subpar instead of main character energy, this is your sign to level it up. Luckily, Nordstrom is serving hard this summer with everything you need to cultivate your cool girl wardrobe for summer, including prices that won't make you choose between making rent and looking your best. Nordstrom has the best summer trends and staples under $100. I am loving their capri pants, lacy dresses, mini skirts, jelly sandals, and the coolest sunglasses of the season, all at super affordable prices. Plus, they have our favorite brands like Mango, Skims, Free People. So it's like doing a haul of all of your favorite brands in one stop. And with free shipping, free returns, and next day options, we can officially ditch unflattering dressing room lighting and feeling bad about procrastinating before our summer vacation. Nordstrom is the hack we're using to transform our wardrobes for summer. Go check out Nordstrom in stores or online at Nordstrom.com, or you can download the Nordstrom app. The most important part is going to be to tailor these to you and make them work for your needs and your lifestyle and goals. The first step, romanticize the shit out of your mornings. Make your mornings feel like a Pinterest board that you live in from the moment that you wake up. And the way that you romanticize it is to think about every one of your senses and set each one up for optimal pleasure. So, starting with scent, as soon as you wake up, light a candle, diffuse some essential oils. You can also spray on your nice perfume as a step in your getting ready process. Like, you don't have to save the good perfume for a special occasion. Give yourself a little spritz because it's Tuesday and you're worth feeling special every day. Next, think about what you hear. What I listen to in the mornings is a huge signal for how my day is going to go. For me, there are some days where I'm in a really motivated, badass energy, and I want to listen to a podcast so I can learn more or feel more motivated. Maybe you're listening to this right now in your morning routine. Thank you very much. But also, I used to be hyper fixated on being productive. So I would feel like I had to spend every morning listening to a self improvement podcast. And a big change that I made was now a lot of mornings I'll play either ABBA, you know, I love ABBA, or some Frank Sinatra, and it genuinely serves me more. I'll turn the music on my speaker as soon as I wake up, and I feel instantly so much happier and more energized and romanticized. Maybe for you, you want to play a French cafe playlist. This time of year, I also love this playlist that I've made of Italian songs that make me feel transported to Italy. I feel like I'm on the Italian coast. Maybe you love a Nancy Meyers playlist with all the songs that are used in her movies. Maybe some days you want to listen to a Mimi Bouchard activation or a guided meditation that helps you tap into your best self. I always do one of these when it's a day where I have interviews or I have a bunch of important meetings or something coming up. Maybe other days you want to open your windows and listen to the birds chirping. Like, how you romanticize your sound will likely look different day by day, but it's such a huge part of setting up your energy. Next up is taste, romanticizing your breakfast. Think about it like you're not just making coffee, you are perfecting the most delicious coffee drink, like better than any cafe in whatever mug or glass feels romantic and special to you. Maybe you're doing something like a French press or whisking matcha where you're creating the drink. You get to feel that slow satisfaction of creating something. My cacao latte for me is very romanticized because it not only makes me feel really good physically, but it tastes like a decadent grown up hot chocolate. And I froth the milk and I go through all the steps to make it feel really romantic instead of just chugging a coffee just to get the energy. Like everything you taste in the morning should, yes, bring you nutrients, but should also bring you joy. Maybe for breakfast, you're using all of the ingredients that you got at the farmer's market last weekend, like a really good quality sourdough with fresh scrambled eggs, and you sprinkle chives and flaky sea salt on top. Maybe you're just waking up a little bit earlier to cook yourself a full breakfast instead of taking a protein bar on the go, and that feels romantic to you. Maybe you only have time to make a smoothie that you'll drink on your commute, but you play around with different smoothie flavors and recipes, and you line the glass with coconut cream or with peanut butter so it feels like you're drinking a fancy Erewhon smoothie. Whatever you are tasting in the morning, whatever you're eating or drinking, give yourself the time and energy to make it pleasurable. Sit on your balcony with your coffee, read the paper or magazine while you eat breakfast. Like, make it a moment for you. This not only will bring you so much joy and will probably be that reason to wake up in the mornings that we talked about, but your body will be able to go into rest and digest mode, which means you'll actually be able to consume the nutrients so much better and properly digest the food. When we're eating in fight or flight mode, which most of us feel in the mornings, we actually overeat and we absorb less nutrients, and this can wreak havoc on our digestive systems. And then let's see, what sense is left? Sight. How to romanticize what you see. To me, this is something that you prepare ahead of time for your romanticized mornings because when you wake up and you're making your breakfast or you're reading or you're doing your journaling or a yoga routine in your living room, like whatever way you're spending your mornings, the first thing that will take you out of that elevated feeling is the pile of laundry on a chair or dishes in the sink. I personally love the idea of doing a closing shift at night. You might have seen this trend on TikTok, but it's the little routine that you do every night to get your home ready for the next day. Like you wipe the counters, you load the dishwasher and run it, you fold any blankets or fluff the pillows, put away the laundry. It's just like the 15 minutes in the evenings where you tidy up your home. It's like the closing shift at a restaurant or store where you're preparing for customers to come in the morning. This is like the closing shift for your home so you can prepare to wake up in a romanticized morning the next day. So when I'm doing this 15-minute closing shift, I like to think that I'm doing it not just as a way to wrap up the day, but for myself the next morning because then I'll set out the candle. I'll probably put more effort into folding the blankets and fluffing the pillows even better. Maybe the day before you want to go out, get yourself some flowers to sit out so you wake up to beautiful flowers in your kitchen or on your nightstand. Or maybe you want to dust off the chair in your balcony so you'll want to drink your coffee out there in the morning. Make sure the night before that your environment is conducive for a romanticized morning. The next step for your glowed up morning is no screens for the first 30 minutes. This is the hardest habit for me to break because when you're so warm and comfy in your bed, it's so easy to just like roll over and grab your phone before you actually have to get up and get your day started. But that dopamine hit from notifications or the flood of texts, DMs, Slack messages, that's not harmless. That's you letting 100 other people's voices into your brain before you've done one thing for yourself. Studies show that the first 30 minutes after waking up are when your brain is the most highly suggestible. It's in like a theta state. So your subconscious is wide open. That means that whatever you take in during that time doesn't just set the tone for your day, but it programs your mind. So when you grab your phone and you start reading emails, you are instantly in reactive mode. You are conditioning your nervous system to be anxious and responsive before you've even had a sip of water. You are letting the world decide how you feel today. When you answer texts or emails or Slack messages first thing in the morning, you are prioritizing what other people need from you first and foremost. Or maybe if you scroll on social media, you are watching everyone else live their lives before you've even started living yours. You are starting the day off already feeling behind because you're checking all the emails you have to get to, or you're comparing yourself to others on social media. You wouldn't invite your coworkers into your bed while you're still in your pajamas. You wouldn't let 100 random people from Instagram pile into your bed and start talking at you before you've basically even opened your eyes. But that's exactly what you're doing when you pick up your phone first thing in the morning. You do not need to be available to the entire internet before you've hydrated and gone to the bathroom. So here's my challenge for you. Don't touch your phone for 30 minutes. Use that time to connect with yourself. I don't care what it is, as long as it's yours. Because you deserve to start your day on your terms, not anybody else's. Again, this has kind of weirdly been the hardest habit for me to break in my whole life. So here are some of the things that helped me. First of all, leaning into what my body actually wants instead of trying to force anything. Because I used to think about it like, okay, if I'm not going to look at my phone, then that means I just have to get out of bed right away after I wake up. And my body just did not want to do that. So I kept going back to the same pattern. My body would not want to get up. So I kept reaching for my phone and scrolling through Instagram. So now I don't make myself get out of bed. I do a meditation in bed, or even I read for like 5-10 minutes, and I don't even want to scroll because I'm still giving myself permission to ease my way out of bed, which is what my body wanted all along. What I would do if I had the money or if I already had this device, I would get myself an iPad or an iPod Touch. Is that still a thing? Praying for the iPod Touches out there. I hope they still exist. I would get a device like this so that I can have a device that I leave by my bedside with my Spotify and my podcasts. and guided meditations and everything that I actually do want to use in the mornings so that I would not have to touch my phone and I can leave my phone charging in a different room. So that's tip if you do have a non-phone device. You can make it like your morning device where you have no social media, no text, no one can reach you, but it has Spotify or podcasts or guided meditations or guided stretching or whatever you want to do in the morning so that you don't have to even look at your phone in case a message pops up or anything. And then what has also helped me tremendously, because I still do keep my phone by my bed so I can play guided meditations and turn on podcasts or music as I'm getting ready. I am not quite able to buy myself a whole new iPad or iPod Touch if those exist. So Apple, if you're listening, I would take a morning iPad. But what I do is I turn my phone on red light mode. Like I've talked about this before. It's amazing because you don't get the dopamine hit, because you really get the dopamine hit from seeing all the colors. So when it's on red light mode, it stops you from even wanting to scroll. And then setting time limits on all of my apps. I even put a time limit on my Slack app. That has been new for me. So from 8:30 p.m. until 8:30 a.m., all of the apps on my phone, besides iMessage and my guided meditations and Spotify, things like that, are blocked, which has really helped me stop scrolling at night too. And here's the thing, they're not actually blocked. Like when I do need to get on the app, like if I have to post something on Instagram, you could just click to ignore the time limit. But if I'm just going on to scroll or I'm checking the app out of habit, the screen that pops up that's like, this app is on a time limit. Do you want to ignore the time limit? It is enough for me to check in and be like, "No, I actually don't want to." It really helps you break the habit of going to certain apps because so much of the time that we spend on them is purely out of habit, not purpose, especially in the mornings. So I love the time limit feature. To turn it on if you have an iPhone, go to your settings where it says screen time, hit downtime, and then you can schedule whatever time you want, and then you can go to always allowed, which lets you pick the apps that are always allowed. Like mine are my guided meditation apps and face yoga app and things like that that I do want to use in the mornings. Next on the glowed up morning checklist is the Holy Trinity, the trifecta: sunlight, hydration, and movement. I'm not going to tell you that you need to fit in a full workout or have a warm water with lemon or whatever TikTok will tell you a good wellness girl morning routine looks like. But I am going to say you need to think of fitting in sunlight, hydration, and movement as early as possible in your morning. This is the trifecta when you wake up. It increases your energy, it boosts your mood. So you want to make sure that you're getting it in first thing in the morning. I already talked about the science behind getting sunlight in ASAP. Engaging in physical activity shortly after waking can elevate energy levels and improve your mood. Exercise stimulates the release of endorphins, the body's natural mood boosters, and it also helps to regulate cortisol levels, which especially can be helpful in the mornings when our cortisol levels are naturally more elevated. This can help reduce stress and anxiety in the morning and also throughout the whole day. And this doesn't have to mean doing your workout in the morning. Very light activities like stretching, a gentle yoga flow, going for a walk can enhance mental clarity and energy for the whole day. And hydrating is essential because after hours of sleep, the body naturally becomes dehydrated. Drinking water first thing in the morning helps rehydrate the body, kickstart the metabolism, and it also helps flush out toxins. Another reason you may not have a bowel movement in the morning is if you're not rehydrating first thing. This is a no brainer, but especially before your coffee, you are rehydrating. Here's my light movement and hydration routine that is usually the only thing that is consistent every morning. Our curtains don't do shit. Like they are very a light, thin, linen-y fabric intentionally because I want sunlight to wake me up. And then also, as soon as I get up, I open the curtains for additional light right away. It is the first thing I do every morning. I keep a glass of water on my bedside table. So after I tongue scrape and brush my teeth, I can start rehydrating while I do my skincare and get ready for the day. But then when I go out to the kitchen, I make a big glass of room temperature water with minerals. I like Body Bio minerals. And I also add in Sakura's Cell Reset. And sometimes I will add an Element electrolyte packet if I'm doing a hot workout class that day or drink alcohol the night before to replenish electrolytes. and I start drinking that. I take Louie out every morning. We literally just walk a little bit down the street and back. That's enough movement. And I'm also getting more sunlight. And then I love stretching. I go through a series of stretches for my hips because they get so tight. All of this together probably takes like 20 minutes. And a lot of it is just intuitive. Like you will find that you'll crave sunlight, movement, and hydration first thing in the morning when you really start paying attention. I don't even think about doing these things. It is what my body craves every morning. Next thing on the checklist, I want you to pick one aligned action, not give yourself a to-do list. I think when we set this specific routine, like every morning, I'm going to gratitude journal, I'm going to meditate. Sometimes these things can obviously be super helpful. So if it helps you to build that as a daily routine, go for it. But a lot of times it becomes, I'm just doing this to check it off a list because I said I would do it. Like, have you guys tried gratitude lists? And after a couple of days, it becomes, okay, yeah, my car, my home, my dog, like it just kind of becomes habitual instead of asking yourself, what is one thing that my highest self would do this morning? Maybe some days it's a 10-minute meditation. Maybe it's putting on a lip stain and a BB cream, even if you're just working from home. Maybe it's not texting your ex. Just check in with yourself on how your highest self would live that morning and do something, one thing, no matter how small or how brief. And a lot of days that can look like even just making your bed because accomplishing something small, even as minor as making your bed in the morning, releases a little bit of dopamine in the brain. Actually, Gretchen Rubin, who is the author of The Happiness Project, which is an amazing book, I highly recommend. She talks about how making your bed is a really impactful habit that can enhance happiness and productivity. She has a whole post about it and says, this small act, just making your bed every morning, is one of the most effective changes that she has seen people make to boost their well-being. So again, it can be something that takes 30 seconds and it can look different every single day, but just do one thing, what I call an aligned action. Instead of giving yourself a daily to-do list that you have to check off in the mornings. In this world, we don't need more to-do lists, okay? I also really like doing some type of journaling, morning pages, brain dumping, whatever you want to call it. Therapists call it cognitive offloading. Putting your thoughts onto paper is an incredibly effective tool for so many different reasons. I personally love doing manifestation journaling where I visualize my highest self, like my dream life, what my home is like, waking up in the morning as my best self, visualizing what that is like and writing it down. Because the morning is a high access time to your subconscious brain. Again, it's like that theta state that I talked about. Visualization and scripting prime your reticular activating system, your RAS, which is that filter in the brain that seeks evidence of what you should focus on. Research shows that writing down goals increases achievement by 42%. So, future you journaling or visualization exercises are incredibly effective. I try to do this in the morning about once or twice a week. Usually, this is on the weekends for me. If you're not in the mood for manifestation or you don't love the whole visualization thing, Julia Cameron talks about morning pages in her book, The Artist's Way. The concept is that every morning you write 3 pages of longhand stream of consciousness writing. It is not a journal. It's not meant to be beautiful. You never have to show it to anyone. It's not even meant to be read again by you. According to Cameron, this practice really helps you tap into your subconscious to release what you need to release. For some people, they have the biggest epiphanies or they have these creative breakthroughs or it helps them solve problems. Other people look at this practice as a brain dump, clearing out all the mental gunk that clogs up your creativity or your clarity. By offloading everything that's racing through your head, your to-do list, your worries, your inner critic, you are making space for focus and intuition. So I think journaling in whatever way you resonate with is an amazing aligned action that you could do every day if you wanted to for major impact. I personally only fit it in a few times a week, and that's okay. But if that doesn't resonate with you, or if you don't fit it in either, just pick one aligned action, putting on mascara, not checking Slack, making your bed, just one aligned action that feels like your best self. If you're listening to this and thinking, I barely have time to brush my teeth in the morning, much less do something for myself. I have a tip for you that doesn't require any time at all. And that is to decide who you are going to show up as for the rest of the day. You can do this exercise on your commute. You can do it while your coffee brews. You can do it in the 15 seconds before you wake up and get out of bed. All you need to do is tap into who you are going to show up as for the rest of the day and just mentally pick an I am statement. Like, I am a woman who honors her energy before she gives it away. I am building a life that I'm fully happy in. I am confident. I am lovable. Pick your I am statement for the day that you can repeat to yourself as much as you need it. That is an amazing aligned action that requires zero time. And the last tip on the glowed up morning checklist is to always have a plan B. Some mornings are going to be chaos. You're PMSing, you slept like shit, your cat threw up on your gratitude journal. I don't know, you woke up 37 minutes too late and you have these huge pillow creases tattooed on your face. No, your hot girl walk and green juice is not happening today. This is the kind of morning where most people admit defeat and they look at their entire morning and their entire day as a wash and they say, forget it. I'll try again tomorrow. This was a shitty day. But you're not most people. That's where Plan B comes in. It is your non-negotiable, bare minimum version of a morning routine. Think of it like your emergency exit strategy for chaos, for those chaotic mornings. Plan A is your ideal, right? It's all the things that we talked about, the aligned actions, the movement, light, hydration, the romanticized morning with a frothy matcha and a great playlist. Plan B might be to chug a glass of water, take 3 deep breaths, and order a smoothie on your way to work. It's the 3-minute version that still says, I showed up for myself today. Even if I showed up in a messy bun and mismatched socks, I showed up for myself. Because here's the honest truth about transformation. How you show up on good days isn't actually the biggest indicator of success. The biggest indicator of success and well-being and fulfillment is how you show up when it's inconvenient, how you show up on bad days, how you still think of yourself and prioritize yourself when you don't have time or energy. When plan A doesn't work out, because it's not if, it's when, we don't want to look at the whole day as a wash because it kind of defeats the purpose and it also stops our progress. Having a plan B means you show up for yourself when you can and you are continuing the momentum. But more importantly, it ensures that you still prioritize yourself when you actually need it the most on those really busy or awful, shitty days. I don't know if you guys remember that book from childhood, if anyone else read this. I think it's something like Alexander and the Very Good, No Good, Very Bad, Awful, Fucking Disgusting Day, whatever that book is. I always think like Alexander needed a plan B. And you need a plan B too for your own very good, awful, no good, fucking disgusting bad days. So come up with a plan B ritual that is really easy so that you can do it when you're groggy, when you're grumpy, when you're late. And just remember that your glow up is not about perfection. It's about creating a life where every single day you feel as good in it as possible. The best version of you doesn't abandon herself when life gets messy or life is busy or her alarm doesn't go off in the morning. She adapts and she always, always prioritizes herself, even with no time or when she's lacking motivation. So those are my tips to build out and help you personalize your morning routine. The last bit of insight that I will leave you with is that maybe a morning routine is not all it's cracked up to be. The wellness industry is obsessed with routines, especially morning routines. I mean, I love watching a morning routine TikTok. But here's the thing I'll say about routines. Having a routine, by definition, means turning a practice into muscle memory so you don't have to think about it, you just do it. This can obviously be very helpful to keep up with rituals and practices that make you feel really good if you have decision fatigue, for example, throughout your week and Your routine is this habitual practice that you don't have to think about, you just do it. If it's making you feel amazing, that's great. It can be such a positive thing to have a routine. But how our bodies change day to day, week by week, and even minute to minute. Will your body even need the routine that you are turning into a habit tomorrow or next week? I first started thinking that maybe having a routine is kind of working against me because I kind of had an epiphany with my exercise routine. Working out has always been a routine for me. I would go to one specific workout studio 5 to 6 times a week without fail. I didn't think about it. I just signed up for the class and showed up to the studio every day. But I realized that it caused me to disconnect from my body. I was doing it because it's a routine rather than checking in with my body every day and every minute to identify what it needs. I've come to learn that I don't think it's actually good to have a routine. That's why in this episode, I gave general themes as a checklist and not specific activities, because I hope for you, romanticizing your morning looks different tomorrow than it looks the next day. I hope how you move your body in the morning looks different. Maybe today you do a slow stretch in bed and tomorrow you want to go for a 45-minute walk. So, just a thought to leave you with as you're trying to identify how you want to invest your mornings to strategically and intentionally use your mornings as a tool to live as your best self. Maybe routines aren't actually the ultimate wellness achievement that we think they are. Maybe routines just give us an excuse to tune out and be mindless. Maybe we should actually be striving to be so routineless every single day so that we make intentional decisions, so that we are so deeply connected to our bodies that we do things out of what they tell us to do, not out of habit, so that we never stop feeling alive. That is what I have for you today. As always, please leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed this episode. I really want to hear from you what tips you liked and what you're going to try for your morning routines. Let me know in the Spotify or YouTube comments if you like this episode so I know what you want more of. That is what I'm here to do. Podcasting can definitely feel sometimes like a one-way street, and it almost feels like I hope you guys like this content. It's hard to know. And again, the only reason I'm here, I know I say it all the time, but the only reason I'm here doing this is to help you. So I want to know what resonated with you, to know what you want more of. I hope that you have a week full of amazing and present and intentional mornings. And I will talk to you on Thursday for our recap of May. I can't believe we're at the end of the month already. I love you, every girls, and I'll see you then. You enjoyed the episode. I know I sure did. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really makes a huge difference for our show so we can keep growing and bringing the content that you love. If you want more info, you can find us at the Every Girl Podcast on Instagram or theeverygirlpodcast.com. Talk to you next week.